By far the hardest thing about nurse practitioner school for me was finding a preceptor. So I have come up with ways that will help you find your preceptors so that you maybe won't have to go through what I went through. If you don't know, my name is Connie. I am a family nurse practitioner. I graduated nurse practitioner school in May of 2016, and I have been working since September of 2016 in orthopedic spine. It took me 5 years to get through nurse practitioner school. Part of that was my fault. The rest of it was I just wasn't knowledgeable. I didn't know what I didn't know. So the part that was my fault is I started school thinking that my major, I wanted to do education. I was at the time a diabetes educator, an RN, and I really loved it. And I thought, yes, I want to teach. That's what I want to do. So I started with nurse education and did that for about a year. But then I found out that my cousin had graduated nurse practitioner school, or she was getting ready to graduate, and we were talking about it. And the more I talked to her about it, the more I thought, man, I really wish I would have done that. Well, lo and behold, my school at that time just started offering nurse practitioner education. So I quickly changed my major, and so that set me back a year. About a year. There was a couple of classes that transferred, but I didn't know at the time that when I started the nurse practitioner program, I should have been looking for preceptors at that time. I didn't think to look ahead. So trick number 1, look ahead. Set up your preceptors far in advance. I had learned that most organizations, most offices have 6 months to 1 year waiting list. So you definitely want to get in there before you absolutely need them. I thought a quarter ahead would be fine. It wasn't fine. So that was tip number 1. Tip number 2 is I mailed out 100 resumes. Resumes didn't work. They didn't work for me. Cold calling does not work. I called, I bet, every office in my phone book. It just doesn't work. 1, because they have a schedule, and 2, they don't know you from Adam, so why would they give you the opportunity? I mean, they don't get paid for it, so why would they do it? The number 1 thing that I ran into that worked the best is networking. When you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, it gets you in there. I hate to say, it's just the way it is. That's the nature of the beast, I guess. When they feel comfortable with the person who's referring you, then they automatically have this sense of comfort with you. So networking. And what I mean by networking, I mean find your nurse manager or the DON of where you work, or family members, your own doctor, whatever works. Networking definitely works. So what I did, I was, like I said, a nurse practitioner, a diabetes educator, and I asked the medical director for our meetings that we had to have per rules, policies. I asked him if he would precept me. And he wouldn't do it, but he asked his nurse practitioner that worked for him if she would do it, and she did. So once I landed that was my first one. Once I landed that one, I thought, oh, that's what I need. So at the time, I was only working as needed as a diabetes educator, which was about approximately 1 to 2 days a week. That's all I really wanted to work while I was in school anyway. And so I thought it was more important for me to find preceptors to finish school than it was to pursue diabetes education at that point, even though I loved it. So I quit my job and started working for another doctor in an office because they needed another nurse just to check in patients. I took a $7 an hour pay cut, and I didn't care, because once I was in there, I knew that they would precept me when the time came. And so that was the truth. So I happened to work in an adult / pediatric office, and I needed a peds preceptor. And so when I was working there, the nurse practitioner precepted me. So that was 2, and I needed 2 more. The last 2 were the hardest to find because I had already set up with a friend of mine who is a podiatrist, and I thought that he would be eligible to precept me, and he was cool with it, filled out all the paperwork. Well, he was denied because he's a podiatrist and I'm in family practice. Even though a family nurse practitioner can work with a podiatrist, they didn't allow it for precepting. They wanted all family practice type scenarios. So when that was denied, I ended up losing, like, I think it was 6 months of time, because when he was done, you had to go in order. When he was denied, then I wasn't able to do the next one that was in line because they were booked beyond what I needed them. So I lost 2. So I was panicking. Well, my cousin that I told you about earlier had graduated. And so I called her up, said, hey, you want to precept me? And she did. So that one was kind of in the family sort of thing. Still networking though, right? So then the last quarter that I needed was the absolute hardest. It was women's care. I tried everything. I got on Nurse Lada's Facebook page and I asked for help. I said, I need a nurse practitioner. And I was 2 years behind my original graduation date at this point, and I was really starting to get discouraged. I really, at that time, thought I was not going to finish. And so someone commented on my post, and she mentioned a couple of services. So this is my next tip, is if you absolutely are in desperate need, and I say desperate, this is a last resort thing, but it definitely works, you can pay a service to find you a preceptor. So that's what I ended up doing. I went to a place called Clinical Match Me, and I sent them, they had an online application of sorts. I filled that out, sent it to them. They sent me back if they were able to find somebody in my location or not, and thankfully they were. And they gave me a price, and it's very pricey. It was $15 per contact hour, so I needed 144 hours of preceptorship, and so it's 15 times 144. That's what I had to pay. But they found me somebody within a week. So Clinical Match Me saved me. And I mean, literally up until the day that I walked into the office, I thought something's going to fall through, because I already had, I didn't tell you about one of them, but I already had 2 preceptors that fell through, and I was just like, oh, something's going to happen, I just know it. But it didn't. And the preceptor was awesome. She helped me, and I got through it. While I was there, there was another person precepting with another person in the office. And I was asking him how he was able to get preceptors. And he said the thing that helped him the most, so this would be my next tip, the thing that helped him the most was baking cookies and going to the places. He said he got 2 preceptors that way. Cookies. It works, apparently. But he baked cookies, put them in a cute little package, showed up to the different offices, and no, not every one of them said yes, but a couple of them did eventually. And he said it didn't take him any time to do. That's all he did. He made some cookies, packaged them up, very nice gesture, and went there and said, hey, I'm in my such and such quarter of nurse practitioner school, and really like your practice here, and would like to know if you would precept me for this many hours, this many weeks. This is what I will do for you, blah, blah, blah. And that's how he got his preceptors. So those are my tips. Networking, bake cookies, Clinical Match Me, and if you have to, change jobs. You get to know people that way, and they get to know you. So anyway, stay tuned for my next video. I have a whole list of videos that I want to get done in January, so I hope that you subscribe, and if you click on that little bell, it'll let you know when my next video comes up. I will talk to you later. Happy preceptor hunting! Bye.